What is going on, everybody? Today is the day where I answer all of your questions. Thank you for submitting. So let's tackle these one by one. That's a good question. The item that I have used the most often is on my phone. I use two apps more often than not. I use the Rail Planner app, and I also use Google Maps. Uh, I've used them more than I probably have used Pokemon Go. No, I'm not playing that game. um, the Rail Planner app is by Urail, and it has helped me a lot. I would probably use it even if I didn't have a Urail pass, because all I need to do is just type in the city that I'm departing from and the city that I want to arrive at, and it'll give me like all the times of when I need to leave, or if I need to make a reservation, if there's going to be a bathroom in the train, if there's going to be snacks, all that good stuff. It's basically just become the go-to device when it comes to transportation needs, more so than Google. And Google Maps, God, I use that a lot, and I make sure that I go out of my way to use Google Maps to find out where my hostel is from the train station well in advance. I will type in the walking directions, take a snapshot of it because I don't know how good or bad Wi-Fi will be in the city. So at least if Wi-Fi is bad in the city that I arrive in, at least I can just look at the images on my phone and walk to the hostel just reading. So, but for the most part, each city has had decent Wi-Fi, and I've been able to get to my hostels safely. As for items that I don't use, it sounds rather silly, but I don't use my pajamas to sleep a lot. I'm not saying that I sleep naked. I don't sleep naked. Uh, I just wear underpants to bed most of these days now. If it's cold, I'll wear pajamas, but lately it's been really hot here in Europe, and I can't sleep while wearing pajamas. Pajamas don't do any justice when it comes to sleeping in a very toasty hostel. So, I even guys will do it. They'll be just wearing their boxers to sleep, and we'll just be walking around, and it's just hostel life. I've even had to. Uh, yep, I will even sleep in boxers, even if it means that I've even had uh, with whom I've had a beer with some ladies downstairs in the hostel, having a good time. They'll be happy to be sleeping in the same room with me, and I'm still in my boxers sleeping, and it gets quite awkward after a while because there are some very attractive girls that are sleeping in my room, and then I'm wearing boxers in bed and not wearing any clothes or anything like that. But I don't care. It's hostel life, so I don't wear pajamas that often. Best or strange, most strange food I've ever eaten. I haven't eaten anything strange. I have yet to go to Iceland. Not saying that Iceland's food isn't good, but they serve shark and moose head in Iceland, and I might grab a dish like that because I just know it's weird, but I want to open my mind and see what whale or shark or moose head tastes like because that does sound rather peculiar. But most of the stuff that I've had have been rather appetizing. Um, but the best, but the best food that I have had that I could eat my body weight in, and I haven't seen this food in the U.S. yet. Uh, I was in Prague a couple of days ago, and they have a pastry called the Trudelnik. I'm not sure if I pronounced that correctly. I probably pronounced it wrong, but we call them chimney cakes in English, and it's this cake that's roasted over a flame, and it's coated in powdered sugar, and then you can fill it up with chocolate, Nutella, or strawberries, whipped cream, ice cream. It is so good. I mean, the first time I had it, uh, I had it with ice cream, and it was a bit much for me. So after I was just like, eating away the ice cream, and what was basically the cone was the cake itself. I just said, yeah, I'm not sure if I really like this yet. Now, once I get to the bread, the cake itself, I'm just like, oh my god, this is the best thing I've ever had in my life. And then I just scarfed that thing all the way down because we were walking and the ice cream was just dripping everywhere that I went. and I said I had to get another one of these before I leave. But the second time around, I made sure I didn't get any ice cream because that shit was dripping all over the place. I just needed the cake itself, and that was good. So yeah, if you ever go to Prague, make sure you get a chimney cake. They are to die for. I knew one of you metalhead friends would be asking me this question. Well, to be fair, yesterday they were playing in the hostel on public radio some Rammstein songs. So I also heard some Volbeat tunes. I don't hear a lot of Volbeat back on public radio. Yeah, because in the States, most of you know that I like heavy metal, but when I'm driving, I'm stuck with public radio. I don't have Sirius XM. If I want to hear Slayer or anything heavier, I have to spend $10. I don't know how much it is, but Sirius XM private radio, just to hear heavier stuff. Otherwise, public radio in Los Angeles, Rage Against the Machine, Avenged Sevenfold, Metallica is as heavy as they'll go. So, yep. But it's pretty cool to hear Rammstein and Volbeat and all those heavier acts on public radio and not just private radio, which is pretty cool. As for just music in the stores, it's still American pop. I've heard Never Gonna Give You Up on the radio there. I've heard Don't Stop Believing. I've heard Forever Young. I'm not making this up. They're still in European stores. And I'm like, don't you guys have other music? So I feel like I'm working at Sprouts again when I'm grocery shopping, even here in Europe. So I shouldn't say that I was surprised by this because I knew going into Germany that this was the case, but I was surprised that the phenomenon was actually true. Um, on work days in Germany, people tend to just not smile, or if you almost run into somebody, you don't need to say excuse me. And people whom you don't know, even within like 5 days, it's considered rude to say good morning or good afternoon. I mean, that's my experience. I'll give you an example. The first morning uh, that I stayed in a hostel uh, in Frankfurt, it was early because I was jet lagged, so I just wanted to see if breakfast was ready or coffee was ready. So I walked downstairs and the coffee wasn't ready yet. So the guy was setting things up, and then I said, "Oh, good morning," and then he's just like, "Good morning," in German, by the way. So Guten Morgen. Um, so I just minded my own business, just looked around the lobby, and then I asked him a question along the lines of, like, "Hey, do you know when the coffee will be ready?" And in America, they usually give you a response saying like, "Oh yeah, I mean I'm starting a brew right now, but it'll be probably ready in like 30 minutes. I'll let you know when it's ready." He just said, "It's not ready yet." So very direct and just straight to the point. And that's when I learned it's just like you just let people mind their own business in some ways. So that was a bit of a surprise for me. Yes. Good question. I don't get too many American stereotypes type of questions. When I say that I am from America, they do like to talk about Trump, not in an accusing way, but they just like to talk about it because he's the bee's knees right now in America, obviously. Um, when I was in Prague and I took a tour of the city, our tour guide would like to ask us questions, where we were from and stuff like that. When she came around to me, I said, "Oh yeah, I'm from Los Angeles." She's like, "Are you trying to be famous?" And I said, "Well, no, but to be fair, I do work with famous people." And there was somebody from New York, just a couple feet away from me, and she was just like, "Hold on, wait for it." She was saying to the host because she knows that she was getting the impression that I do work in the film industry, and then she was toying with me at the fact that, like, yeah, if you're from LA, you work in the movies, guaranteed, probably. And then I said, well, I'm a production assistant, and my father is a film editor. She's like, yep, I knew it. There you go.